We are back with another Old World Almanac, giving us yet more exciting news and rules teasers about the upcoming fantasy system, and this time we're being shown off a few rules for a very popular unit and one of my Vampire Blood Knight's most hated enemies, the Bretonnian Grail Knights. We got shown their stat line as well as a load of their rules and abilities, and also a very sneak peek at a few of the exciting magic items we can look to sink our teeth into when the old world hits our hands. So Grail Knights, these are your big, super powerful, blessed by the lady heroes of the Bretonnian forces. They come in squads of 3+, and they have a fairly beefy stat line. They are toughness 4, weapon skill 6, initiative 5, 2 attacks, and have a strength of 4. They only have 1 wound, but like I said in the previous Old World video, that is expected in fantasy. Most things will only have 1 or 2 wounds unless they are really, really powerful lords or monsters. So this stat line isn't bad, although maybe if you've only come from AOS or modern 40k, it may look it. This stat line is not bad. As far as the old world goes, these guys are tough. They come with heavy armor, barding, and a shield, which altogether means they sport a 3-up save, which again in the old world is going to be an incredibly good stat line. 1 wound with a 3-up save is definitely on the tankier side of things when most of your models are probably going to be toughness 3 with a 5-up save or something and 1 wound. So these guys really are sort of like the Terminator equivalent of the old world. And then on top of that, they can take a Grail Guardian, which is like their unit champion, a standard bearer, and a musician to give them some extra bonuses, as well as access to those powerful magic items. Their lances are equally brutal. They grant +2 strength on the charge and also come with an AP of -2. This seems to be slightly different to old fantasy, which had armor penetration based on your weapon's strength value. Now it seems that things will have a set armor penetration value. But then on top of that, we also see a brand new rule in Armorbane, and this is on a system. So this is currently Armorbane 1, as you can see, but presumably it will go up to Armorbane 2, maybe even Armorbane 3 on some things. And what Armorbane does is it adds extra AP to an attack on a wound roll of a 6. So essentially what that means is that the Grail Knights can get up to -3 AP on their lances if they roll a 6 to wound, and that means they are basically going to rend through pretty much any armor in the game, short of something like Khorne's Skull Crushers or a Steam Tank. Now, Armorbane is one of the new universal special rules they talk about, and they also tell us that there are about 75 of these in the game now, and what they are for is they allow GW to cover and collate a load of game-wide rules, things like psychology, things like coherence in units, and also give you a bit of a guide in things like with Stomp. That means that you know what units have Stomp. It's not just a monster special rule now. There may be some monsters that don't have it, or maybe some monsters that have a better version. So you can just very, very easily see now in that list of USRs which of your monsters can Stomp, which of them can't, how your forces are going to move together. With things like Close Order, you know now that this particular unit will move in rank and file, whereas other units like your skirmisher units can be a bit more spread out. So I think this is good. I've always loved universal special rules as a thing. I was sad when they got removed in 40k, and I think it does help to just get everyone on the same page in terms of what exactly units will suffer from, what they can do, and what benefits certain things will bring to the battlefield. On top of the plethora of new USRs though, of course we do get some unique bespoke rules for each army, and Bretonnians have a fantastic few to call upon. They get things like Blessings of the Lady, which allows you to forego the roll for first turn, and now that is a big thing because quite often you do want to get that first turn to get things like buffs and maneuvers and get your units into position, but if you do choose to forego that first turn roll, you do get a very, very big benefit, and what it does is it grants you an army-wide 6-up ward save or 5-up ward save against strength 5 attacks. And this is a huge boost to your durability army-wide. Everything from your peasants to your Grail Knights are going to be much more durable with that ward save. And I think in some cases, maybe not so much if you're up against a pure shooting army and you want to get in as close as you possibly can, as fast as you can, but if you're against an enemy melee army and you know that that first turn isn't going to be super impactful in terms of getting charges off or getting shot to pieces, you may want to forego that first turn roll, just kneel and pray to the lady and get that 6-up ward save or that 5-up ward save for when the rest of the game, as the armies do start to clash in the middle of the battlefield. Finest Warhorses gives them a bit more reliability. It allows you to reroll ones when you charge, flee or pursue, whilst First Charge gives your first charge, if it reaches the enemy, the ability to break their ranks for a round, which can make it much more easy for you to break their morale, force them to flee and then cut them down as they run away from you. We also see a few familiar and returning special rules. We get Swift Strider. That adds 3 inches to your maximum charge range. It doesn't add 3 inches to your charge, it just seems to add 3 inches to the maximum distance you can charge. So rather than only being able to charge something within 12 inches, for example, you can now declare a charge if you are 15 inches away, and then on top of that, it gives you an extra d6 inches to your charge rolls, as well as pursues, which all round is incredibly strong. You get longer distance charges, and you also get a much better chance of making those charges thanks to that extra d6 inch range. Grail Vow is also insanely good. It makes your knights immune to fear and terror, and also grants them magical attacks, which just turns your Grail Knights into this insanely resilient force. With that 3-up save and potentially ward, they are just going to be unbelievably durable and resilient against certain armies like the Undead or Orcs and Goblins. Basically anything that has lots of fear-causing units or monsters is going to really struggle to take down things like your Grail Knights with that special rule. The final thing we see in the article today is those magic weapons and abilities that the Grail Guardian can take. Remember, he does get to spend 50 points on these, and they do seem rather spicy indeed. The Virtue of the Impetuous Knight grants you an extra 3 inches to your maximum charge range, so that is potential extra 6 inches if you add it on to Swift Strider, and then also you get to add d3 inches to your charge roll. So straight off the bat, if you roll perfectly, that's a flat out guaranteed 9-inch charge right from those 2 abilities alone. So this is really strong, and it's going to make it incredibly easy for you to make a successful charge on basically anything that you want this unit to go into. The Dragon Slaying Sword is an 0 AP user strength sword, but it comes with the Monster Slayer rule. Now we don't know what this does, but presumably it's going to make him very scary for enemy monsters, possibly ignoring all their saves or doing bonus damage to them or something like that. This is just going to turn him into a very good unit and character for taking out those big scary enemy beasts. And then finally, taking the Standard Bearer gives you access to your banners, and the one they show off today is the Blazing Banner. What this does is it grants your unit flaming attacks, and this is going to make them a terror against flammable things, which includes not only things like Wood Elf Treemen or other wood created items and characters and models and units, but also Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings, unless they've changed that from Warhammer Fantasy, are also mostly flammable because they're in their bandages and their kind of, brittle bones and all that dried bone and everything. So they are quite often flammable. So this is going to make the Grail Knights with this banner incredibly scary at going into things like your Tomb Kings or your Treemen. It's worth noting there are some things that are resistant to flaming attacks, or at least there used to be. I presume there will be again. So this is kind of one that can be a double-edged sword. If you charge this into a unit of, just off the top of my head, something like the High Elf Dragon Princes, they had a 2-up ward save, if I remember correctly, against flaming attacks. So charging these units with the Flaming Banner into something like them, definitely not something you're going to want to do. But against the right target, this is going to turn things like your Grail Knights into just an absolute terror with those flaming attacks. All in all, I have to say I love the look of the Grail Knights. I cannot wait to see what other USRs we have in offer when the old world hits, and also what other magic items we might be able to kit our units out with. The old world, for me, is shaping up to be so much fun. There's just so much customization and uniqueness in how you build and play your army. So I am very, very, very hyped indeed, and I think it is a very good time to be a fan of Warhammer Fantasy. But as always, what do you make of these rules? Do you think the Grail Knights are going to be good for 38 points? And which of these special rules we got shown today do you think is the best? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later guys.